Alrighty, so we're gonna try game 2 of the morning. We just lost a pretty poor one, really bad showing by me, and so we're gonna try another one. So e4, e5. Let's see where this one takes us. Pretty standard opening so far. So we're gonna transition to what's called the 4 knights defense. And the only reason I know this is because there's 4 knights. This bishop is most likely moving out here somewhere. I don't know where the bishop's gonna go. There goes the puppy. Um, I'm just gonna pretend and set up kind of like an Italian-like structure, I guess. I don't know what this queen is doing here. Maybe my opponent's gonna fianchetto. Alrighty. So I'm gonna try something silly. No, I don't want to do that. Let's make this exchange first. My opponent's not going to capture the queen, obviously, because they're not going to want to lose that. But they could capture with the knight, which is fine. So the question is, how do we want to defend this bishop? We could just let it go. I mean, not let it go. We could move it out of the way. In fact, what's wrong if we do this? Opponent could push, and then I'm in double trouble. All right, let's just go here. We'll defend it. In fact, I'll pre-move this, assuming my opponent's going to capture. That's what they were looking to do. So now I've lost a little bit of time. Do I have? No, I don't. Let's go ahead and castle. I guess my opponent's looking for the knight down. Yeah. If my opponent captures, then I can rotate my knight where? I'm not certain, but I'm going to try this. Perfect. That's what I was hoping for, simply because it now blocks off my opponent's. Now we have a double attack here. My opponent could push down again, but then I can just pick it up with the queen. There's nothing stopping the queen from taking it here. Actually, I could just pick it up with the bishop. Bishop is defended. Everybody's happy. So my opponent now has this again, but in this case, I'm up a pawn. Let's go ahead and make the trades. So we have traded our 2 pieces for a rook, but we got an extra pawn out of the deal. This pawn is undefended now, though, which sucks. So my opponent's probably going to pick that one back up. No, they're going to allow me to defend it. The question is, how do I want to defend it? Oh my goodness. I have... I would like to do something. I'd like to get this knight around, I think. So we have alignment issues, and my queen technically is undefended, so I've got to get my bishop up and out of the way somewhere. So one of the things I would like to do is I would like to my opponent's queen is defended, so it's not really a big deal anymore. All right, you clever bitch. Because that comes with check, forces my king away, and now he could pick up here. Okay. You got me on that one. I'll give you that. You got me on that one. I was not prepared. Now this is defended at least. Let me just think. Where do I want this bishop to go? Captures, 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 captures. I'm up. Or do I want it down here? No, I think that's a good spot for it. That's defended. This is the only safe square for the rook. Now the question is, can I turn this into something? You know, that's fine. Just leave it alone. Let's. He takes, we take. Okay. I really got to watch the clock now. I'm really got to watch the clock. Really got to watch that clock, I said. Opponent has back rank issues. Opponent's up a piece, so good for them. Making sure my opponent can't get here. Sorry, I'm really concentrating on this one. We'll start with this with check. Then we're going to come here. And now this should be a queen. This just prevents my opponent from getting another check in. So let me just do some quick math. Here, my opponent picks up, I pick up, and then he picks up. Here, my opponent picks up, I pick up with a queen. So I think I'm safe. I'm either trading a bishop for a rook. I want to get my king to this square. He pushes, I push with a queen. He pushes, I can still cover it. So now we're in this rook endgame. This should be a draw. I'm going to offer him a draw. It should be a draw. I just need to make sure I circle my king around to this side of the board. I don't have to do anything until that pawn actually queens. Now my king is protecting my pawn. We could look at exchanging pawns here. Let me... If he captures, I capture. It's a draw, just like I said. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Let's see where it really was a draw. I mean, it really was a draw all the way back here, right? Let's see if the engine says anything other than a draw. I think a rook and a couple of pawns. Rook versus pawn endgames are... They're one of those things that there may be a possibility, but the main thing is they are basically a draw. Sad but true. So, you know what? Look, I dropped a piece, but I turned around and held it into a draw. That's a win. Sorry, the dog is back here. What you doing? Hey, what you doing? You want to come say hi? Come say hi. Can you guys see? Puppy, hi, puppy. Hi, puppy. Okay. Get this mic. Okay. See if you guys can hear me again. All right. So, yeah, a rook versus pawn endgame is a draw. But yeah, like I said, so I dropped a piece, but I came back for the draw. I'm happy with that. I'll take it, right? We held it to a draw from the black side of the board, too. Yeah, okay, so maybe it wasn't a draw. Maybe right here. Okay. So I had opportunities. So right here. Yeah, okay, so right here. Let's take a look from right here and see how we could have won this, right? This could have been a win. Pick up the pawn. We did that correctly. That's fine. This is where it became a draw. Okay, so what did I need to do? I needed to cut my opponent's king off from approaching. And then, let's see, I'll give my opponent the best move possible. I'm trying not to look at the arrows on my turn, though. Right, now we're still preventing my opponent's king from approaching. But now I can approach. No, bad move. See, it's this one move is the difference maker here. Okay, so the trick is your rook has to keep the opponent's king away from their pawns. That's the trick. These are not connected pawns, so that helps. All right, let's go back here. So these are connected pawns, but if you can unconnect them, that's great. Keep the king from approaching. Oh, because this is a defended square? Okay. Ah, this works too, because these can only push... He doesn't have to push it, though. Why do I want to go behind? Oh, right, because my king can't approach either, because if my king approaches, I allow my opponent's king to cross the wall. Okay, so I have to get my rook. Ah. Okay, so that doesn't work because I have to get my rook, keeping my opponent's king cut off, but I can't because my king is in the way. What if I take my king this way? That doesn't work, because once you get past... Why not? Because they're still connected pawns. And now he can force a draw by just keeping his king near his pawn. Yeah, and once he gets here, it becomes insufficient material. Because queen, once this pawn queens, I have to give up my rook for it. And so once he gets to here, so maybe that's what the trick is. Let's back all the way up here. Maybe the real trick is just keeping the king from ever reaching the second row, maybe? So that no matter when they queen... Nope, it doesn't like that. I've really got to study endgames, y'all. I still held this to a draw, so I'm still happy with myself, especially coming off the loss the previous game where I dropped all those pieces and it was a really bad game. This game, we dropped a piece still, which sucks, but we held it to a draw. That's not bad. That's not bad. I would like to learn. I got to learn endgames. I got to learn how to make these endgames work. Wait, what happens if you push here? It becomes a checkmate pattern. Because my king is making a wall, my rook is checkmating. So the opponent's king has to move. The only way it can move is to against this wall. And now all I want to do is keep my king in opposition. All right, so I can, oops, not there. Undo. I can go here, which is defended by my king. Get the rook out of the way. Ah, you don't want that. You want to keep cutting off the king. So here we go. We're going to cut off the king. Instead of this move, we're going to slide our rook all the way up. So now the king is cut off. So if he approaches here, we're just going to keep him cut off from going down. So he has to go up the board. Wait, what if from here, can I... Right, because he has to go up the board. Okay. Let's delete all that. So, bring the rook around the back. If your opponent pushes, capture, slide the rook over with check. My king is making a wall, driving the king this way. So he goes this way. I am going to go this way. Now it's my opponent's turn. He could push the pawn. But yeah, I've got this. And notice my wall is still in place. The king has to move out of the way so I can pick up. Opponent, the king can't cross this wall, but I don't need that too much. We've cut off this side, and my king is cutting off these squares. So now it's the opponent's turn to move. He has to move here. Now that he's opposite me, I've got a wall, then checkmate. These are so tight. Because one move different, like, let's leave it. If you don't pick up that checkmate, then your opponent's like, okay, well, I'll just go this way. Then you lose all your time playing these stupid games. Once he goes here, now we got the wall. Boom. All right, guys. Well, that was a fun game. Very interesting. Let's take a look. I don't remember if I looked at the big opening yet. E4, E5. This is the four knights. It's pretty easy to see why it's called the four knights. I have no idea what this queen move was for. Not a clue. And then my opponent immediately moved it right back. So my opponent gave up a tempo, and I was unable to capitalize on it, unfortunately. Oh, I guess I had this counterattack, didn't I? Yeah, nobody's going to capture there. Okay. I don't remember why. Oh, it's right. I pushed this because I was thinking of rotating my knight up. Not a good idea because he's still got this long square, long light square bishop. Yeah, it wanted me to retreat, but I also wanted to get my bishop up and around. Up. Why rotate? Oh, I see. Right, rotate up because that puts pressure on this bishop. Hmm. Okay. Should have seen that because I have to rotate the knight out of the way anyway, and rotating it up does two things at once, right? We always want to try to find two things at once. More importantly, that would it also helps defend. It helps defend that f7 pawn. Phooey, 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 phooey. Still says black has a huge advantage here, and I was unable to capitalize on it. Why didn't I take with my queen here? I don't remember. Yeah, I did not spot this at all. This was clever by my opponent. I saw the pawn, but I also saw that I'm threatening a knight, and he's only threatening a pawn. What I didn't realize was that would drive me away. So, should have moved my king. But yeah, you can see the massive swing here. Yeah. But see, my opponent had a huge advantage, and he couldn't swing it either. So, you know what? I feel okay. And that's where that's where he lost it because it allowed me to rotate my king up. Yeah. So now the queens are off the board. My opponent picks up a rook, but it still says black has an advantage now. Interesting. So I made the correct call, defending this pawn. Use the other pawn. You use the other pawn, Joe. I had time. I could have marched my other pawn down, and he couldn't have done anything about it. And now he's in real trouble because I have 1, 2, 3 attackers. And now I don't even have to give up the bishop. Now my opponent wouldn't do that, obviously. They would just, yeah, look at that. Because then if my pawn gets allowed to push, then it's all over for my opponent. When you've got connected pawns, use them. Use those connected pawns. All right, guys, so this has been about, 15 minutes of gameplay and 15 minutes of rambling. But it was a fun game. These were enjoyable to me. All right, guys, I will catch you later, and keep playing chess. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.